Okay, tell us about your piece.
Okay. My stepdaughter had a dog and she had to have her put down, and the vet service gave her an imprint of the paw print. And she asked me if I could do something with it because it's very light material. It's almost like a very stiff marshmallow. So I turned two pieces. The outside rim is cherry. The inside plate is black walnut. And what I did is I turned the two plates so they would nest together, and then took the walnut piece off and cut out the outline of the paw print because it's not perfectly circular. So I cut that out and put it inserted it into the opening for it. And she was very happy with that. And that's on her wall at home.
Very cool.
Does it hang by a like a keyhole slot on the back, Brian?
Yeah, there's a keyhole slot I put in the back with my router. Yep. So it can either stand on a stand. There's a stand as well that goes with it, like a plate stand. So she can use it that way, but right now she has it on the wall. And in the new year, I'm going to turn an urn for her dog's ashes. So
Was the gilding your work, or did it come that way from the vet?
no, that was her doing. I said, do you want that black? Or she said, let me think about it. So she decided that she'd rather put the gilding on it.
Nice touch.
Yeah.
Makes it really stand out.
But just to give you an idea, that paw print, the whole white piece is probably 7 inches long from top to bottom. It was
What kind of
quite
dog
a.
was it?
It was what they call a Dutch Shepherd. It was a Rottweiler Shepherd mix. It was about 98 pounds. She was beautiful dog, but a big fat head. Yeah, it's quite funny. She rescued this dog off the street, and it got close to the end of the dog's life, and her vet service recommended it's called a end of life pet service. She lives in a major city here in Canada, in Toronto. It's 2.5 million people, and she lives in a condo. And what they do is they come in and they assess the home situation and what they can do to make the dog comfortable or your pet comfortable. And then when it's time for the dog to cross over the rainbow, as they say, they come in, they give you all the time they want, and they remove the animal after it's passed and look after the cremation and return of the remains. And as a bonus, she didn't know about it, but she got the paw print as well. So people in the big cities, they don't know how to get rid of 98-pound dogs. If you're in a condo, it's pretty rough.
That's a neat service.
You got to turn a dog urn for her.
Yeah, I'm working on right now. I do staved turnings for, we have Bravey Beads programs in Canada, but we do one specifically for one of the hospitals in Toronto. And it's called Beads of Courage. And I tried cutting staves for it, and I never could get them measured right because my saw is not that good. So what I did is I picked up a set of router bits. They're called Bird's Beak router bits. And they use them for routing pieces of wood to make wooden ship masts. So they all interlock. It's just like one flat surface and one carved out surface. So it's a lot easier to make staves out of it. So
That's very cool.
that's my, and thank you for allowing me to join your club. It's my first meeting.
Thanks for tuning in all the way from Canada.
Well, it's cool up here. We got to do something when it's snowing.
I got Tom White slide up and Tom White alongside it, I think. Can you guys up there and zoom in and see that?
We still have Brian.
You still
I
have
see
Brian?
it.
Here we go.
There's Tom.
Okay, I'm gonna take Tom off because then that'll put the picture where we want it. Where in the spotlight. Yeah. Now you guys see the picture?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, everybody sees it. Go for it, Tom. Tell us about it.
This is a embellishment that I came up with last year that I've applied to several pieces. This is one of the more recent ones. It's sort of a spacey looking thing, so I thought I'd kind of make my impression of a galaxy. It's on maple. It's about maybe 10 inches wide. And this is one of the pieces. Actually, I demoed this at the Susquehanna Club earlier this month or in November. And this is the finished product that I took home and finished. I think the other one is along with it too, but it's I don't know if any of you have ever tried to take a picture of something black in the house with under a light bulb. It's pretty hard because I did some other ones and they came out brown, but this sort of came out fairly well black. But that's one of the objects. It's sort of a spacey looking thing. I'm also a member of the Astronomy Society of Harrisburg, so that sort of ties in. And the next, and that's its little brother. That's a small bowl, and I did sort of a swiping thing on the side of it and made little stars and that sort of thing. But that one is about 4 inches wide and 3 inches tall, just an open bowl.
Is the black paint, Tom?
That is gesso.
Gesso, okay.
It's very dense. It covers very well, except for maybe a little bit of touch up here and there. I've had problems with black paint, sometimes with black paint in the past that it didn't cover as well as this. And this worked out pretty well. It's got a flat finish and it covers very nicely.
And what did you use for the stars?
Oh, that's I'm glad you reminded me. Those are little cup burrs that you drill in with a high-speed drill, sort of like a Dremel tool. And I spaced it out with the indexer on the lathe and just painted it with either gold or silver paint. And I tried to put the evenly spaced ones at the third of the way down from the top to make it look good. And the little swiping thing says various sizes that sort of represent stars and things, and maybe a galaxy or something like that. I thought it was kind of interesting. I've made about 7 pieces like that now. And that's a piece of dogwood. That is actually dogwood that came from the Blue Star Highway. Bill Fatofsky gave us some of that a number of years ago. And I found this laying there that wasn't being used. So I decided to do that. I bored it out with a Forstner bit to get to the bottom, and the bottom section is walnut. And right about the division line between the dogwood and the walnut is where the bottom of the bowl, the bottom of the form is. So I came a little bit close to the bottom. But it's finished with water locks in and out. And I think it's about 6 inches high, about 4 wide, something like that. But it's hollow. That turned out pretty well. It's got a nice shine to it.
Nice piece.
And one more. That's a candlestick with apologies to Mark Safiri. That's sort of an multiple centered candlestick that I made. And since I've been playing around with milk paint, I painted it with milk paint. The black part is gesso. Those are various colors of milk paint, and then I sprayed on a top coat of satin or satin lacquer of some sort. It's not a gloss lacquer, but that's kind of a fun piece. Just for the heck of it, I'll stick a candle on the top of that, maybe burn it for Christmas.
Is that one piece of wood, Tom?
Yes, it is.
Well, how much off center were you for that base piece?
I think it's about 3/4 of an inch or thereabouts. But it's that one. That one's probably closer to about maybe 6 or 7 inches high. The wood is sweet gum that I had laying around. I never liked the looks of the wood itself, so I figured may as well cover it up. But that's several coats of each color, because that doesn't cover particularly well at first either. You have to put on multiple coats. And I just started playing around with the milk paint, and it looks okay. Maybe that's a little suggestion. Throw it on out there. You guys may want to try it sometime for a piece of wood that doesn't have a very nice grain to it. But that's about it.
Do you paint when it's still on the lathe?
No. No, I just held it in my hand. I don't want that stuff all over me. No, I remember the girl at the symposium painted it on the lathe, but definitely don't, didn't have it running, but it just happened to be a good way to hold it. But that wasn't so bad that I could hold it in my hand while I painted it. It turned out all right.
Is the milk paint the kind you mix from a powder?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okey doke.
Any more emails? Sue?
Anybody else out there in Zoom land with show and tells?
I made some ornaments for kids in the neighborhood. These are small acorns. And once the Christmas is over, they can take the string off the ornament and use it as a top. The one I wanted to show you is something about some dry brushing. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and anybody wants some information on dry brushing, I'll send you a document on that. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Dave.
already.
Okay, I have a dust collector. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, this is my dust collector hood when I make pens and bottle stoppers and such things. This fits on my lathe. It has dust collection built into it. It has a Lexan cover that covers it up, so I don't have to wear a face mask. And this is a picture from the front of it. It has a Lexan shield up here. The banjo of the lathe is under the plate that's down at the bottom here. This is a close-up with the hinges open so that I can sand without removing the item from the hood. This is it. This is it from the one side. The only critical dimension is the distance from the center of this cutout to the bedways. That has to be centered on the height of your lathe. And this is the back of it, showing the hinges in the back and the dust collector, which is just a dust collector that's been glued into that hole underneath. And finally, on the bottom are some magnets, some permanent rare earth magnets, and they hold the dust hood down to the thing. Now, I originally designed this thing. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
This is my design for it. This is a program called SketchUp. It allows you to make sketches of various things. And although it's intended for architectural use, it works well for small, simple objects. And this thing is about 10 years old, so I'm about ready to build another one. So, and it's just a handy thing to use on my lathe. It rarely gets demounted from off my lathe. So that's it.
This is just for pen turning, right, Randy?
Say again?
I say it's just for pen turning.
Stoppers, really anything that's smaller than about 1.5 inches. Use it for bottle stoppers, use it if I make small bird houses or, almost anything that's small enough to go in the hood. I often have about a 5-inch disc sander that attached to the headstock of the lathe, and that will just barely fit in the dust hood, but I use it for various reasons, various uses when I'm sanding.
So you'll use that hood for sanding and while you're cutting as well,
Yes,
while you're turning. Okay.
the dust collector gets almost all the chips and all the sanding dust. I finished most of my wooden pens with super glue. It gets rid of all the fumes from the super glue. I don't even smell it.
Nice.
Good job. That's very
And it wasn't my idea. I copied it from somebody else. That's it.
Great, thank you, Randy.
How you doing? Gary from Long Island.
Hey, Gary.
How are you? I always wanted to do butterflies, so this is kind of, I just started the project, actually. It's not finished yet. And that's walnut over like a spalted sugar maple. So the outside is finished or sanded to 180, butterflies in, resanded and refinished. And you don't do the inside until you're finished with the outside on this kind of thing. So I like it. I mean, I actually tried to find a bowl, a rough turn bowl that I rough turned that was cracked. I couldn't find one, which I guess is a good thing. So I just used this.
So the butterflies aren't doing anything besides being decorative, right?
Correct, correct. I did try to, this wood has a lot of figure in it. I don't know if you guys could see that.
Yeah, it's
But
beautiful.
I picked a part where the grain just kind of runs straight in that spot. I don't know if you could see it, but anyway, I like it. I think I'm gonna start using the technique. I got it from Big Island Engraving.
Mhm.
The actual butterflies and the router kit. It worked out pretty well.
So
Is that for
you route the relief to fit the dovetails? You route
Correct.
that?
Yeah, it's a template
Uh,
that you hot glue on.
uh,
First, you trace it out and figure out where you want to put them. And then you hot glue the template on, you route it out. I actually have the Trent Bosch jig, so I leave it in the chuck. And I just mount it right in the jig and you can play around with it, and very convenient with that Trent Bosch holder.
Do you use a trim router with that or a larger,
Trim router.
smaller one? What
Small
size
one.
bit? Small, like an 1/8 inch?
It's an eighth upcut.
Yeah. Wow, they're very tight. That looks great.
Thank you.
Is that the largest size bow tie?
He has about 6 sizes. This one is 0.9, just under an inch wide. No, this one I think is 0.7, I think it is. It's somewhere in the middle. There's like 6 different sizes.
Did you pick 2 for a reason? Like you have 2 daughters or 2 sons or something, or just?
No, I picked 2 because when this is mounted in the chuck, I was gonna put a third one right here. But I
Can't reach it.
couldn't reach it in the holder, and I didn't want to play around. I'm just doing this as a test piece. I guess I could have taken it out of the chuck and just mounted this on the table and then figured out a way to, get the template to stay on there and able to work it, but I couldn't work it with the chuck in the way.
That looks great. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Gorgeous test piece.
Yeah, thanks.
Our new member.
So actually, I brought 2 pieces. So about 2 months ago, I was given a piece of cherry burl, and I'd never played with burl, didn't know how to deal with it at all. Didn't know how to look at the wood because I never dealt with it. And it sat there, and I found a small piece and cut it off and just did a small footed bowl, and that's going to be Mom's Christmas present. So I really like the way it looks.
What the finish did you?
That's the armor seal. My mom likes shiny, so I made shiny. And then that was just for fun, because actually I got started on this and my table saw motor decided to stop working. So I went on pause while I started this one, which this was for the challenge for this month. I didn't know how to do a picture frame, didn't really need a picture frame. So I figured wall art, and my wife likes Captain America. So I made this. It's maple, red heart, maple. The blue, I did do a vacuum dyeing on it, and I got it pretty decent, but I did have to go back and do a light touch up after I got done with the sanding, because it was a little more baby blue than deeper blue. It was a lot of fun and I had learned a lot in doing it. So I try to pick projects that I get to learn new stuff, and this was the first time I did, a circle and then made a circle to go outside of the circle and then that kind of thing.
What's the
Uh,
back? That's nice.
So
So that's not painted on, that's blue.
no, it's maple that I did in a vacuum in alcohol dye. And it sat in the vacuum for, I don't know, I started in the morning. The next day is when I finally turned the vacuum off and let it sit the rest of the day. And it soaked up real well. It's just, I probably didn't have enough colorant in to get the deepness that I wanted. And like I say, it looked good, but it was just a little bit pale for this project. So,
So does the vacuum pull the dye in? How does that work?
Yeah, essentially, yes. It's kind of like doing a stabilization where you're sucking all the air out of the wood in the vacuum. And once you get all the air out of the wood, when you release the vacuum, it sucks the fluid back into the wood. So, yeah, it was an experiment and it kind of worked.
Looks great.
All of my projects so far have been experiments because I don't know nothing. I've only been doing this for about 9 months. So I'm having fun and learning a whole lot about working with wood. So
Did you make a star by like a long piece that had that cross section and
yeah,
cut it in
so this was a laminate that I put together with the white maple, the red heart, and then the blue maple. And then I saw that from a guy down in Texas. I forget his name now.
Just say Jim.
I think it was Tom, but I could be wrong. And he went through it step by step how to do it and cutting the different angles. It's a 54-degree angle and a 36-degree angle to get the star to come out right. And it came out good and it looked better before I glued it because when I was doing the glue up, it moved a little bit. But that's okay. My wife won't
Now,
care.
how deep does that dye go in? Because you dye it and then turn it, right?
Yeah, actually, when I turned this, it was the whole way through. I
Wow.
still had dye all the way inside. Now I didn't cut all, actually, when I did do the cuts, it was all the way through. It was solid blue the whole way through, but it was just a lighter shade of blue. Like I said, I think I probably should have put just a little more of the blue pigment into the acetone or alcohol rather, to get it a little bit richer than what I ended up with.
That's pretty
So,
cool.
I'll try it again with something else. Who knows? So it's fun.
Very cool. Hi, I'm Mike, same Mike, different hat. The straw hat leaks in the rain, so I had to wear my other one. Just a simple bowl. I actually can do more traditional wood turning. Daughter's friend was visiting and we made a couple pens and then he wanted to see how to make a bowl. He didn't get to make one, but this was my effort at it. It's okay. I have to figure out where to put the light yet, but other than that, it's almost done.
It's in the bottom.
Right in the bottom, yeah.
It sits flat.
It does. It kind of bothers me. I might have to change that. I don't think he would understand the rock and roll I like.
One of the guys in the club, Dawn, had some yew wood that I got, and I really enjoyed turning it. I made 7 pieces, and I brought 2 of them that I liked. It just, the figure in it is just really beautiful, and the finish on this is just wax. I just buffed it and waxed it, and it just really came up nice. This one is a little shinier because I put a hit of lacquer on it first, just one light squirt of lacquer, and then also buffed and waxed. So that's my U adventure. It's really pretty wood. I'd like to get some more of it and make some more things like this. So that's the 7 I made will be some of my Christmas gifts to my family. So
It's turn that green, John.
it's been drying in Don's shed for many years, so it's really quite dry. And he said it was from a 30-foot tall yew tree.
Wow.
You know, we usually grow yew as a hedge, but it can grow as a bush or a tree. And the biggest piece was about this big around, no, about this big around, but it had a big split in it. So I got 2 smaller pieces out of that, and then I had one piece that was another inch and a half bigger than this. But what I'm interested in these is I had to finally get serious about sanding, which I've really never taken too seriously. But I got a little sander and really worked on sanding. And I always have a lot of attention on the curve, what's the shape. So I made that little foot to kind of lift it up. And this one the same. It's for me, it's about the curve, this curve here, and this is relation to these curves. But I just love the colors and the way the sap and the hardwood and this yew wood really mixed together. So that's
How long did you have the lacquer on before you bought
overnight.
just overnight?
Spray lacquer or?
Yeah, spray that a rattle can lacquer.
Oh, wow.
Just dusted it. And it just made a difference in how lustrous it is. But I actually, all the rest of them, I just finished with wax. I like this better, to tell you the truth. There's nothing there,
You
but
have trouble with lacquer coming up on the,
no,
put it on too heavy.
you put it on too heavy. Yeah, you want the lightest possible coat. I used to do a brush on too. What I do is take deft brushing lacquer, cut it, maybe 50% or less with lacquer thinner, and brush it on, turn the lathe on and wipe it off. So that just the merest coat of lacquer. And Angelo does a lot of that kind of thing.
Yep, exactly.
Say again?
Same thing.
Yeah, I think I learned it from him. Anyway, it's a good technique for getting, it just seals the wood just barely. It makes it doesn't make a shiny or thick layer in it. And it's just a matter of taste. I mean, this is a lovely big shiny thick layer. My taste is to not have that. But it's no, yeah.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's right.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
This is a small walnut box that I'm turning. It's a work in progress. Zoom in on that. And I really like the figure of the wood. It has a nice little knotted feature here. But when I reached the point of the lid, I didn't want to cut too much off with a parting tool and then to get it to recess inside for a fitted lid. So what I ended up doing is I had a 30-second parting tool from a machinist tool, and then I used this is a trivet from a plant stand, cork trivet, and I just matched the inside radius to the on the lid with the inside of the container, and then cut a little piece of the cork, sanded that. It took 2 to figure out how to sand it very lightly, and then that was just epoxied inside, and then that just seals my box.
Did you return the outside after the cork was applied?
A little bit,
Okay.
sanded it basically to get it the shape to fit
Right.
perfect. All I need now is the knob on the top.
Matthew, how did you punch that cork?
Cut it on the bandsaw.
Oh,
It's about 3/8 of an inch thick. And these I got from IKEA, and this one I think came from Lowe's, maybe Home Depot. There's a plant stand.
yeah.
Has a little bit of a finer cork texture, but it really made a nice seal for the lid. Make a little bit of a pop when it's open and closed.
Wow, good job. I like that idea.
Thanks.